Mario jumped from 2D to 3D in 1996 with Super Mario 64, and many more 3D Mario games were created after that revolutionized everything time and time again. But what is the best 3D Mario game? The last time I did something like this, I ranked these games based on 3 factors: creativity, gameplay, and power-ups. But most 3D Mario games don't do power-ups, so I'm gonna remove that factor. Obviously, this is my opinion, so you can disagree in the comments. Alright, let's get into it. First, we have Super Mario 64, which was Mario's jump to 3D. And for the time, this game was fairly impressive. One very creative thing I want to talk about this game are the star missions. They are very creative with missions, such as collecting 2 caps at once for a star on Dire Dire Docks, or riding Dory to get to an island. Another thing I want to talk about in this game is the way Bowser actually kidnaps Peach. Instead of kidnapping her or transforming the castle, he traps her in a painting, steals all the power stars, and locks all the doors for Mario. Finally, there are the very creative levels that have many cool ideas, like Tiny Huge Island having you switch between them, or Wet Dry World making you raise the water. This game does a lot more creative things too, so it gets a 5 out of 5. The second part is gameplay, which is actually really decent in this game. There are a variety of level gimmicks and enemies, which changes the way you do levels compared to others. Mario also has a great control scheme in this game, which makes your movement options fluid, fast, and free. However, one thing I don't really like about this game is the camera controls. They are very clunky, and sometimes it can be a pain when you die because of it. Other than that, the gameplay is great. So it gets a 4 out of 5. Mario 64 gets a 9 out of 10. 6 years later, we got Super Mario Sunshine on Nintendo GameCube, which has a lot of great things about it. The theme of this game is tropical, and an Isle Delfino trip goes wrong for Mario and Peach. With this, it makes a lot of creative missions, such as pushing around a massive watermelon or pulling the tentacles off of a large squid. And even without the tropical theme, you have the idea of the pachinko machine, or those harder Mario-only levels which take place in some weird subspace. Even the NPCs you see on Delfino Plaza have various missions and stories to tell. Mario Sunshine is very creative with even more things, so it gets a 5 out of 5 on the creative scale. Next up is the gameplay, which is also great. Flood is really one of the highlights of this game for me, as he does plenty of things that makes everything fun, such as he lets you hover, spray water to destroy and interact with things, and later on have some kind of jet booster. Another thing I want to talk about is Yoshi. Yoshi works a bit differently in this game, however. He can spray this type of juice depending on the kind of color he is, but he also disintegrates in water. The final thing I want to talk about are the levels. It is just fun to mess around with these levels with Flood, but some of them have their various issues. Like the pachinko machine is completely broken and unfair, and some levels just have the camera randomly turn when you need it not to. Mario Sunshine gets a 4 out of 5 on the gameplay, so the game gets another 9 out of 10. Our first handheld entry is Mario 64 DS, which is pretty good and highly creative for a remake. This time it's not just Mario. This game has 3 new characters: Yoshi, Luigi, and Wario. They also throw in 30 new stars with various new missions, such as collecting 5 silver stars or finding brand new secret areas. You can also catch bunnies to unlock some very new creative minigames, and seriously, playing poker with Luigi is peak. Mario 64 DS gets a 4 out of 5 on creativity. The gameplay is also great. The new characters have a variety of abilities, such as Luigi having a floating back jump or Yoshi having his iconic flutter jump. It also has all the minigames like I talked about, and there are so many of these, and they're extremely fun. You could spend hours playing them. But the one thing I want to talk about in this game are the controls. It is so frustrating when you fall because of it, because when you control it on a D-pad, it's not as precise, and you almost lock in place when you jump. It's the first time I ever raged and threw my DS. Mario 64 DS gets a 3 out of 5 on the gameplay, so in total it gets a 7 out of 10. Flying in is Super Mario Galaxy, and this game is a bit different, but it's very welcome. Now we are set in space, getting on levels called galaxies. These are much more linear compared to other games, but that doesn't hold this game back from ideas. It has a variety of ideas for levels, such as using a drill to defeat a giant robot, riding on a big hamster ball with a star, or beating a certain amount of enemies in a certain amount of time. I also like the twist in the start of the story, and I like how you use the Comet Observatory to reach each level, and you can explore it. The one problem I have with Galaxy is that there's too many galaxies, 42 to be exact. This can make the quality of each level go down slightly, but it doesn't ruin the game at all. 4 out of 5 on creativity. The gameplay is also great. Mario has all the moves in his moveset and now has a spin that acts like a double jump and attack. There are also new power-ups such as the Bee and Boo Mushroom. This game has very addictive gameplay, so it gets a 5 out of 5. Mario Galaxy gets a 9 out of 10. It's funny how many 9 out of 10s there are already. Now we have the sequel, Super Mario Galaxy 2. This game was created because the developers just had too many leftover ideas from the first one, and this game was born, first named Mario Galaxy 1.5. This game is fairly creative, but as it is a sequel, it does lose points. It uses the same story and the same theme, but now there are still some creative factors to this game. Instead of the Comet Observatory, we now have Starship Mario, and we now have a proper world map in a 3D Mario game. There are also some new creative missions, like riding down a tree slide to get a star, or racing a Cosmic Mario. Super Mario Galaxy 2 gets a 3 out of 5 on the creativity scale. The gameplay, though, is even better. Mario still has his exact same moveset, which is a great thing. But the main selling point of this game is Yoshi. Yoshi acts like his usual self, but there are also fruits you can give him to give him special abilities. There are also new power-ups like the Rock Mushroom and the Cloud Flower, and all of the previous power-ups returned. There are also more level gimmicks introduced in this game, so Mario Galaxy 2 gets a 5 out of 5 on gameplay. That makes Mario Galaxy 2 get an 8 out of 10. It feels wrong putting it before Galaxy, but that's just it, I guess. Now we have Super Mario 3D Land on the Nintendo 3DS, which is a very interesting game. This is a good game, but I want to talk to you about its creativity issues. Its worlds are extremely basic, and if you looked at it zoomed in, you probably can't tell what world it is. The levels do not have many things original, with not many new gimmicks. The only gimmicks I can think of at the top of my head are the 3D sections that most people didn't even find. There's not even that many power-ups in this game. The only new one was the Boomerang Flower, and the main one was the Tanuki Leaf. The special world also reuses levels from the main game. This game is not very creative, so sadly it gets a 1 out of 5 on the creative scale. But the gameplay is a little better. The 3D is really cool in my opinion, and the levels are fun. But Mario's missing his triple jump and dive, which is okay though. The Tanuki Leaf is a fun use, but there are not many other highlight power-ups other than that. This game gets a 3 out of 5 on the gameplay scale. This game getting a 4 out of 10 burns my heart because I love it so much and I've played it on my friend's 3DS, but it's just objectively bad. Now we have the game's sequel, Super Mario 3D World, which I absolutely love just as much as 3D Land, if not better, and this game is technically much better. It is very creative, with fun collectibles now and creative levels. I really love the stamps you collect, and it gives the game a lot of personality. The levels are also very creative, just like most 3D Mario games, like Gargantuan Grotto making use of the Mega Mushroom, or those top-down levels that made use of the Fire Flower and feel like a Zelda level. The game gets a 4 out of 5 on the creative scale, as it does much more as well. The gameplay is also great. The game has many cool new power-ups, such as the Cat Suit and Double Cherry. It also brings back the Tanuki Leaf, Mega Mushroom, and much more. Not to mention, the characters all have their special abilities again, just like in Super Mario Bros. 2. You can also unlock Rosalina later on in the game. And this game's highlight, multiplayer, is great. I have played it with a couple of friends before, and it is super chaotic. I love it so much. Gameplay gets a 5 out of 5, so Super Mario 3D World gets a 9 out of 10. It's surprising how much higher it is compared to 3D Land. Our second to last game on this list is Super Mario Odyssey. This game is absolutely fantastic in both creativity and gameplay. The main idea of this game this time is that you venture all over the world with your new friend Cappy through the Odyssey and many kingdoms. Each kingdom is like a massive level, densely packed with power moons and challenges. I also find it crazy that this time, Bowser is deciding to get married on the moon, which makes a really creative final area. The captures are also really creative too, but I will talk about those in a second. This game is really creative, so it gets a 5 out of 5. The gameplay is also fantastic. There are over 50 captures in the game, really changing up how you play the game and collect power moons. Also, Mario has the best moveset ever in this game. He has everything but before, but now Cappy can be used for some insane tricks if you use them right. There are also 880 power moons to collect, making the game last a long time. So gameplay gets a 5 out of 5. Mario Odyssey is gonna have our first 10 out of 10. Which is really impressive, but let's see how Bowser's Fury holds up. Our final game is Bowser's Fury, which I will be ranking it on its own without Mario 3D World. But just because this game is bite-sized doesn't mean it isn't amazing. It adds even more creative things. This time, it is kind of open world, and Bowser is infected by the black goop from Paper Mario, so he is giant and mad. There are various areas and islands where you can collect the new cat shrines. There's also now the Giga Bell, which turns Mario into a giant cat and allows you to fight Bowser. Bowser Jr. is also now assisting you, which allows 2 players. The theme of cats is also pretty funny. This game has many more creative things too, so it gets a 5 out of 5. The gameplay is even better. We have every single power-up from 3D World besides the Double Cherry, and you can store 5 of each. Mario also keeps all of his moves from Mario 3D World, which is a great thing. Each area has various fun challenges for cat shrines. You can also traverse the water using Plussy, which is a blast to do, and he has many challenges surrounding him. Bowser Jr. can also unlock secrets and power-ups. This game feels amazing to play with many more things, so we'll get a 5 out of 5. This means Bowser Fury also gets a 10 out of 10. That is all the 3D Marios, and they will be listed here. It seems like Odyssey and Bowser's Fury are the best 3D Marios, but the true best 3D Marios are obviously just your favorites. There will be a lot of disagreement about this, so please type those inside the comments and I'll respond to them. This video took me a millennium to make, so please subscribe, but it is optional. Alright, bye!